Detachment is a simple concept, but with a profound impact on our lives. The practice of detachment goes beyond material renunciation. It is a path to true emotional and spiritual freedom. By detaching from the things that imprison us, we make space for a more peaceful, more meaningful, and above all, lighter life. In this video, we will explore the deep meaning of detachment and how it can bring real benefits, such as less stress, greater tranquility, more harmonious relationships, and a sense of freedom and fulfillment. What are we really accumulating in our lives? When we look around, we see objects, memories, feelings, and even people that we keep close out of fear of losing them. Attachment is a form of security, an attempt to fill the emptiness we feel inside of us. However, the irony of attachment is that it ends up becoming a burden. As we accumulate more and more things, our mind, our heart, and even our homes become overwhelmed, creating an environment of stagnation. Attachment makes us believe that we have control over the ephemeral, but in reality, it only imprisons us. Attachment manifests in various ways, whether through material possessions, such as clothes and old objects we accumulate, or through feelings and relationships that cause us pain and suffering, the clothes we never wear, the books we keep on the shelf without ever opening, the grudges we carry in our hearts. Each of these things, when accumulated excessively, creates an invisible weight. Detachment, therefore, emerges as a response to this burden. By detaching, we begin to free space, both in the environment around us and within ourselves. The act of detaching goes beyond the simple act of getting rid of material things. It teaches us to live more consciously, more focused on the present. When we learn to release what no longer serves us, we begin to experience a feeling of lightness and freedom. Detachment does not mean living in emptiness, but rather creating space for the new to enter, so that energy can flow freely. We live in a society that constantly bombards us with expectations and external pressures. From a young age, we are taught to accumulate money, possessions, status, achievements, but in the pursuit of these things, we often move away from our true essence. The incessant competition, the pursuit of more and more, the comparison with others, all of this generates enormous stress and anxiety. We become prisoners of the need to meet external standards, forgetting to look within ourselves. Detachment, in this context, is an antidote to this constant pressure. It invites us to reflect on what really matters. By detaching from the need to please others or meet external expectations, we gain the freedom to be who we really are. This process is deeply liberating, as it allows us to live more authentically, with less fear of failing or being judged. Detachment, therefore, is not an act of indifference, but an affirmation of our autonomy and our right to live according to our own choices. One of the most emblematic stories about detachment comes from Zen Buddhism, where two monks were on their way to a nearby village. During the walk, they encountered a beautiful woman trying to cross a fast-flowing river. The Zen master then lifted the woman in his arms and carried her to the other side without hesitation. His disciple, perplexed, remained silent. When they returned to the temple, the disciple could no longer contain himself and asked the master, "Master, you taught me never to touch a woman, but you lifted her and carried her. How can this be?" The master, with his deep wisdom, replied, "Fool, I left the woman on the other side of the river. You are still carrying her." This story is a perfect example of how detachment applies to our lives. The master did not deny the need to help the woman, but he did not become attached to the action. The disciple, on the other hand, was still mentally attached to the moment, unable to release what had already occurred. The lesson here is clear. Detachment does not mean avoiding or running away from situations, but living in the moment and letting go of what has already passed, to move forward without way. This story teaches us that often we become attached to thoughts, feelings, and even people from the past, preventing us from living fully in the present. True detachment lies in not carrying these invisible weights. By letting go of what we cannot change, We gain the freedom to create new experiences and healthier relationships. When we detach, we stop living in the past and begin to live fully in the present. One of the areas most impacted by detachment is undoubtedly our interpersonal relationships. Often, we become overly attached to the expectations we have regarding others or the desire to control the behavior and reactions of those we love. This kind of attachment generates tension and conflict. By detaching from the idea that people should behave the way we want, we begin to experience more authentic and harmonious relationship. Detachment does not mean negligence or lack of affection, but the ability to love without holding on, to love without demanding. When we stop controlling the other, we create space for them to be who they truly are. Relationships become lighter, without unnecessary demands or pressures. This applies not only to romantic relationships, but also to friendships and even family and professional relationships. Detachment in relationships allows us to live with more freedom, accepting others in their entirety, without trying to mold them to our will. Detaching from expectations is essential for healthier coexistence. By stopping expecting others to meet our demands, we can see people more clearly, without the lenses of desire or frustration. This mutual freedom, where each person can be themselves without constraints, is one of the greatest gifts of detachment. From a spiritual point of view, detachment is one of the most powerful practices to achieve true inner peace. Spirituality teaches us that the relentless search for possessions, recognition, or external approval takes us away from what really matters, the connection with our essence and the flow of life. Detachment invites us to abandon attachment to the fruits of our actions, to trust in the process of life, and to live according to the spiritual principles of simplicity and serenity. By detaching from expectations and the desire for control, we move closer to true happiness. Spirituality shows us that life is impermanent, and by attaching to temporary things, we create suffering for ourselves. Detachment teaches us to flow with life, to accept change, and to live with more presence, without fear of what the future holds for us. When we practice detachment, we find peace within ourselves, regardless of external circumstances. In practice, detachment brings immediate benefits to our well-being. Psychology teaches us that maintaining a disorganized environment full of accumulated things generates stress and anxiety. Detachment allows us to create a more organized space, both physically and mentally. When we get rid of what we no longer use, we begin to experience relief, a sense of renewal. This process of letting go helps us create a life that is more focused, lighter, and with more space for the things that truly matter. Furthermore, detachment also has a positive impact on our emotional health. By releasing the weight of past hurts, grudges, and resentments, our mind and heart become freer. Detachment is, therefore, a path to mental health, allowing us to live with more serenity and trust in the flow of life. Throughout this video, we explored the multiple forms of detachment and how it can profoundly transform our lives. From material detachment, which frees us from the stress, OPS-YCF accumulation and mental overload, to emotional detachment, which allows us to cultivate healthier and more authentic relationships. The process of letting go of what no longer serves us is an essential key to achieving greater tranquility, freedom, and fulfillment. We have learned that detachment is not synonymous with indifference or neglect, but a practice of wisdom and self-understanding. It is the ability to live in the world without letting the world live in us. When we detach from the shackles of possessiveness, anxiety, and control, we find inner peace and begin to live more authentically and fulfilled. True abundance is not in what we accumulate, but in what we are able to release, in what we are willing to let go of to create space for serenity and genuine love. The path of detachment is an invitation to live with more presence, more awareness, and, above all, more freedom. Freedom to be, to feel, and to relate in a healthier, more balanced, and purposeful way. And, in the end, by detaching from everything that holds us back, we discover that true wealth lies in our ability to be, not to have. If you haven't watched the previous video, take this moment of search and watch it. It also contains many enriching contents. If this content resonated with you, leave your comment below. Share your experiences and tell us how you plan to apply these ideas. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive more transformative content. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.